So this is an example of how we use vector in a C++ program. So first point you have to remember, this we are using this instead of using an array. So far everything we do, we actually used array. Okay, and array does the work fine, but there are better ways to do it rather than array. So first thing we have to do, you have to include the header file for vector. So include vector, it will include the header file. This is number one, step number one. What is the step number two? Step number two, you have to declare the vector. Okay, so as you can see here, first we write the vector, then we write string, and then we write v1. So this is a variable name. Okay, this is the type of the variable. Okay, and this is vector. So we are saying that create a vector of where I can store string. So you can, if you want to store integers, okay, what you can do in this, you can write, let create a vector for me for, let's assume, integer. Sorry, what's wrong? Yeah, create a vector of integer for me named v2. Okay, if you want to store classes, okay, let's assume you want to store, you have a class called student. You want to store the information, so create a vector. Okay, let's assume the class name is student. Okay, so you also have to write this way. So these are the names. After that, we have the pushback function that add element. So pushback, basically if you have any element, it stores the information into the vector. Now first thing you have to understand about vector, we don't have to mention any limited size for vector. Initially vector gets created with 0 size, then every time you add a pushback, that means every time you insert an element, the vector automatically grows into the size. So think about, it's like an array which starts with 0 size, and every time you add an element, the size increases by 1. Every time you delete an element, size decreases. Now whenever you do this 2 pushback, okay, this 2 will be added to the vector. And now look at this one, you will see this type of functions more and more. Okay, so to make it simply understandable, let me just add bracket. So this is a for loop. As you can see, the for loop starts, okay, normally what we do, if for loop starts with, we know that I equals to 0. So normally if I write a for loop to iterate the array, we start with in I equals to 0, then we write I less than, let's assume array is 10, and then we write I plus plus, right, or plus plus I. Let's, for this one, write plus plus I. So this is a normal way we can use a loop. Then we use like console output. In the console output, what we do, okay, we use like array. Let's assume we have an array 1, array I. In this way we can print the elements of an array. In C we have used a printf AI. Now in this one we'll do the same. So this will be our starting point. Okay, so first what we do, we take a iterator. So this one's saying that give me a iterator for this vector. So what is the vector? The vector is vector string. So first we write the vector string, that I need a iterator for this vector string, and we name the iterator. So this is step number 1, and we name it ITR. So this whole part, what it does, it basically equivalent to I. So we ask the compiler that give me a iterator for which, for this vector string, and the name of the iterator will be ITR. Okay, and where ITR will start? ITR will start from v1 dot beginning. That means the first element. Now we could have just written simply I equals to 0. Why go all this trouble? Okay, because even though right now it's very complicated, okay, but whenever we are working on a long projects, this one will actually make more sense, because normally not every time we start from I equals to 0. Okay, and also this is not dynamic programming. You have to specifically change the program. But in this one, you don't have to specifically change the program. The computer will automatically detect where your data starts. So anyway, so this part is pointing to 0. This is basically I. Okay, so give me a variable or iterator name itr that will start from b1 dot begin. Then this line, this is the limitation. So how many times we will keep going on? In this one, we will keep continue until I equals to less than 10. So here, as long as iterator not equals to v1 dot end. So this one is same as writing like this one. Okay. So as long as that we cannot find the last point, we will keep going on. And then this is plus plus itr. So this is all same as this one. And then we just console output, we print the elements. So let me show you what happens if I run the program. So this just prints hello and 284c. You see automatically there's a space between the space that I have added. So let me just remove this space and let me show you what happens. So if I just remove the space, they just prints them together. So this is printing all the elements. Then if I like add this space and then if I just repeat the lines, hello 2, hello 3, hello 4. So if I run the program right now, see hello, hello 2, hello 3, hello, and then hello 4 and 284. So let me add a space after this. Okay, so done. You see, so this one just takes the input using the pushback and then it prints them. Now, is it the only way to insert the information? The answer is no. There are other ways we can insert information as well. And this is not the only function. Vector has almost 20 functions. That means there are 20 things we can do using vector. Okay, so let's go for another one. So this is a simpler example. So what we did, you see here, we have created some vectors, and this one vector, we use integer. Okay, so this is a vector type of integer. So you can declare vector in this way as well. So we named it first, then we declared another vector, we named it second, then we declared another vector, we named it third, and we named it fourth. Now look at the difference. First of all, the first one, it creates a normal vector. Okay, very nice. Second one, it creates a vector with two values. It creates with 4 integers with value 100. So when you run this, run like this, there will be 4 vectors, sorry, 4 integers, all of them will have 100. Then you can create a vector like this: third, second dot begin, and second dot end. So what is the advantage? What it will do, it will iterate through the second one and it will insert the elements. And this one, it will just copy the third vector. So this 4 line, all of them does the same thing, that it creates a vector. But what is the difference? If you see, we can just normally create an array. We can create an array with initialization value. We can create, sorry, we can create a vector with part of another vector, or we can just copy another vector. So these are some of the things that we didn't, we could do this too into array, but we couldn't do this too. So this is one advantage of vector. Now look at this one. So let's assume let's take a array of integers. Okay, now what the vector can do, it can copy a part of the array as well. So you can just, you see, this is an array with 16, 22, 20, 77 and 29. So you can just take a fifth vector and you can take the part of it, that this is the array, I want the array size, and I want all the elements. So what will happen, the automatically the value of here will be copied back. So, and this is the part that I have shown you a little bit ago, that's the I equals to 0, the name of the iterator, iterator not equals to fifth, and iterator plus plus. So if I run the program, you see the array elements 16, 22, 77 and 29, they're automatically copied to the vector just by writing this line. Now just think about, if you have an array of size 200, okay, all you have to do is just write this one and it will automatically copy the elements. Now we'll not go to the more details, I think it's already too much for you. It will be difficult to comprehend as you are saying it for the first time, but as we practice more in our upcoming classes, you'll see that it will gradually make sense. You'll be more comfortable with the syntax. But for now, just try to see that this is a simple way to use a vector we can use a vector, uh, include the header file. We write vector, we use data type, it's whether it's a string or integer or a class or whatever. Then we use pushback to insert elements. Okay, and then we use this loop this way to form a print the elements of the vector. And there are many ways we can actually declare a vector. We can just directly declare, initialize it. We can initialize with some values. We can initialize with part of the other vector, or we can just copy elements from the another vector, or we can copy elements from another array as well. So there are many ways we can print the elements of a vector.